What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are going over Solana as its price runs out of time to see a bounce before seeing a possible correction and crash all the way down to as low as $75. So with that being said, of course, we're going to go ahead and cover what has happened over the last few days, what is happening now, and what we are expecting going forward. And with that said, let's go ahead and let's get started. So looking at Solana, of course, we have started to see it pulling back towards the downside as Bitcoin itself has also been doing the same. Now, one thing in which we are very aware of is the fact that Bitcoin has major control over the rest of the market. So for the most part, what it does, the rest of the market will do. Now, considering the fact that Bitcoin did just lose a major level of support and is now getting closes below that level with a possible rejection here, that does put us in a position to possibly see Bitcoin continue to fall as low as 38,000 towards 37, possibly even 35,000 at each one of these key support levels. And so considering the fact that Bitcoin now enters into some type of bearish territory at the moment, that has definitely been having a direct impact on Solana itself. So looking at Solana, now what we need to start to focus on where are some of our key levels and where are some of our, where are our anticipations off of those key levels. Now, looking at what Solana has done over the last couple days, what we can see is that it has entered into what could be considered a descending channel or wedge with a fake out towards the upside. Now, generally speaking, this is bearish. Generally speaking, many people would consider that this is the possible continuation pattern in which most of us fear, which looks like a fake out to the upside, a continuation into a breakout to the downside, which looks like us losing some key levels of support. But considering the fact that Solana has a tendency to break out to the upside of descending structures, I am still pretty bullish in the sense that while we are in this channel, we are still okay as long as we are above $89. So what we can go ahead and realistically do is just draw this little horizontal in right here. And while we are in this zone, I am still pretty bullish. I am still under the belief that we could break up to the upside at any given point. But if we are to lose that, it's definitely going to get ugly. Okay. So looking at Solana, what I would go ahead and say is that right now, while we are again in the zone, we're okay, but we need to start getting prepared for what happens when we leave it. Because at this point, Solana only has about roughly 20 days left of this channel until we enter into this apex, and it has to figure out where it's going to go. Now, the reason that this level right here is so important, let's go ahead and just put that back on for a sec. The reason that this level specifically is so important, this horizontal, you guys know, is because if Solana is going to bounce and continue towards the upside, it is going to pretty much always happen off of its 618 to 786 level. Whenever we look back here, one thing that we've been comparing it to is this move, right? In which we saw the breakout of the key level of resistance, boom, the back testing of the 618 to 786 box into the continuation towards the upside. And I've been saying that if Solana was going to see a strong bounce back up towards $175 to $200, it would have to happen on a full reset back to this box, a bounce off this box with, of course, the clearing of 150. So considering the fact that we are still above and within this level, we are looking okay, but it is important that we do not lose it, which makes $89 or the 786 horizontal point extremely important. In the event in which we do come back down to lose that horizontal point, in the event in which let's go ahead and get all this put back on. In the event in which we do go ahead and lose the 786 level, it then opens the door in which Solana will almost always resort back to its range low, which in this position puts us falling from 89 back down towards $78 to revisit a crucial level of support, which is the range low back here. Now, we can even further support that idea by looking at just the overall liquidity in the market over on bookmap. Of course, if you do want to download bookmap, it is in the description below. Go check it out. But one thing in which you can see is that if we just come back down towards $80, you can see that is where there is some extreme amounts of liquidity. We zoom in, you can see here at 82, 81, $80, there's 12.8 thousand Solana in the order books there. So that's saying that people are anticipating that there is a possibility of us falling this low back towards $80. And so it is extremely important that we do not lose this $89 point, because if we do, that liquidity very likely will drag us back down to this point down here. Okay. Now, in the event in which we do start to see the price breaking to the upside, I think that it is best suit that we wait for it to clear $110 or this previous point of rejection before purchasing. The reason why I say that is because at this point, Solana needs to confirm to us that it is going to go into a short-term uptrend to confirm the long-term uptrend. What I mean by that is at this point, we have gone in and set the higher high, and at this point, we need to confirm the higher low by going into a short-term uptrend. The way in which we go into a short-term uptrend is to break the short-term downtrend. And what that looks like at this point is us going back up and setting a smaller, more micro, higher high above 110, which opens the door for us to set the higher low, confirming the uptrend towards the upside, which says that this long-term macro uptrend here has very likely started. And then from that point, that is a very strong confirmation that we will see some growth towards the upside. Personally speaking, I am not buying while we are in this range in which we are right now, because the risk is very great of us visiting $80, and the loss of 80, of course, does put us in position to revisit the next level of liquidity, which we have some at 75, but realistically, the majority of it does sit but closer to this $70 range. So for all of those reasons, we are at the risk, and Solana is running out of time to see a bounce before things could possibly get ugly. Right now, we are at the risk of seeing the price falling up to 20. And of course, because of that, I'm really not all too interested in accumulating until we can confirm that we are out of the danger zone for now, which of course, in my opinion, looks like us getting back above $110. So right now, it is extremely important to be paying very close attention to what happens on the price and how it interacts with these two zones between 110 and $89. This range is going to tell us every single thing that we need to know, and this channel is going to give us the transportation to either break towards the downside or reverse us back towards the upside here. So do pay very close attention. And so for all of those reasons, I'm not going to be doing much but just sitting back and watching, which I think is the best thing to do sometimes. We did make some fantastic gains throughout this play here. We did some accumulating around this $90 point to begin with. When we first got this breakout, we did some accumulating, and we saw our prices going up well over 50-60% at one point. And I do believe that gains can still be made even in this market, as we did do back here. But it is important that we just play it safe sometimes. We get cautious and we get very wary of this market, because at this point, no one really knows what's going to happen, and we don't want to get caught in the fire. So with that said, that's going to be about it for today's video. And of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.